Welcome to the Community Conversation and Game of Life Mentoring Podcast. I'm Gail Nelson, your host and president and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Miami. I am pleased to have with me today for this holiday edition where we celebrate philanthropy and the gift of mentoring. So let's bring in our guest, the CEO, president and CEO of the Miami Foundation, Rebecca Fishman Lipsey. Good morning, my friend. How are you? Go ahead and unmute there. How you doing this fine, beautiful Miami day?
I'm doing well. How you doing? You doing
I'm
well?
doing, I'm doing well, doing well. Rebecca, welcome to the game of life.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you.
No, it's my pleasure. And I tell you what, you joined the Miami Foundation, you began your tenure as president and CEO in June. But before we get into all of that and all the wonderful things you've already done, let me just stress that you've already done at the helm of the Miami Foundation. Tell us a little bit about your personal leadership journey.
Oof. Well, how far back should I go? I guess I'll start a bit with just me, the person. I'm the grandchild of Holocaust survivors. And so my upbringing was really an immersion in like trauma and loss and rebuilding, and just kind of set me up for a life of just reflecting on justice and social justice and what kind of society I want to be living in and helping to build. And so my first job out of college, I taught in Harlem, and I think that job just set me off. I taught a group of brilliant little kids, fourth grade, and so they had been through kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. Now they're in fourth grade. This is their fifth year of formal education. And most of my students were reading on a first grade level. I thought to myself, these are brilliant, motivated, capable kids. We have failed them. We have failed them. Like how did this happen in my school? And then as I zoomed out, I saw this happening all across the entire country, that based on your zip code, your outcomes in school, like what we were offering in our public school system across this country was just so deeply inequitable. And it filled me with so much rage and just consumed, thus far for me, the rest of my career. Like that is what set me off. I think based on what I saw at home and what filled me with rage as a kid, and then seeing that play out in a system at large, I was like, I can't let this go. I think this is where I'm headed. And so I stayed within the education space for a while. And then as I began to learn, like, who is making the laws that then are translating into such an inequitable system, I saw down here in Florida, where I was working in education at the time, that there never had been a teacher on the Florida Board of Education. I thought to myself, like, is this how power moves? Like, how is it that there are no teachers' voices on this board? And so I ended up becoming the first teacher to serve on that board. And that's really been kind of the flow of my career, is like feeling an injustice and then figuring out how I can use my time towards that, which inevitably kind of led me where I am today, which is at a foundation, figuring out how to leverage wealth in a community towards justice and equity.
Incredible. And that really gives me some context. When we were both on a panel together, I think it's been quite a few months now as it relates to social justice. And have you ever had the feeling, and I know you have, where you meet somebody and it's like, I need to get to know her further. I need to get to know him further because that's my sister from another mother. I'm serious. I mean, that's how I felt. I mean, your energy, and I know you made a reference to teaching in Harlem. I said, I just need to know more. And so you were a little busy back then, taking the helm in the new position. And I said, one day you will join me on this Game of Life Mentoring podcast. And I'm so pleased that we finally get a chance. Of course, we've talked between the panel and now, but
Yeah.
just really pleased to just learn more about you. And it really speaks to, think about that for a minute. In the 2020, when I say 2020, Rebecca, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
God, I mean, the struggle. This has been a year of struggle and loss and pain. I don't think I have a better word than struggle, but I feel like this was a year of wake up calls
Hmm.
for us here in Miami, but really for our whole country. Yeah, I mean, how about you? When you think of 2020, what's your? We are closing out this year, thank God.
Isn't that something?
But what's your word this year?
The easy thing, the easy answer is people like the year of COVID, but you know what? No, I don't go there. The first thing that comes to my mind, and as we chat today, I think a pivot, and I do think of awakening and just waking up.
Yeah,
And so when we think about what you just said about those incredibly intelligent children in Harlem, a microcosm of so many children throughout the United States and throughout this world, and underlying condition. See, there's words that people always understand now: underlying health condition, and contact tracing, and all that in the medical context. But in the social context, think about that. There are underlying conditions, and we can trace it back to either the laws or to power or the lack thereof, and we should not be surprised by the results. And so I'm just so moved by what you shared, and so that's what comes to my mind, and family. I know you asked me for one, but I'm the host, so I can throw two more in there too, Rebecca. And family. And let's just stay on family for a minute. You are a personal assistant, uh, capital P, capital A, to two boys. Is that correct?
I am. Yeah, I think that's the last line of my bio is that I'm a, you can say all the fancy things about yourself, but at the end of the day, I'm a personal assistant to two little boys.
How old are your
And
boys?
they are 10 and 7.
Incredible.
Not
Now
so
I
little
saw.
anymore.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rebecca.
I was saying that, it happens so quickly. They don't feel little anymore, but I know they are.
But I tell you what, you posted a video that I saw, and you were. I mean, my goodness. I don't know if it was Lady Gaga or Rebecca. I mean, I mean, you were banging on those keys, and to see the twinkle in one of your boys' eyes. Was that the 7-year-old that was sitting next to
I
you?
was the 7-year-old. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And so, are you formally trained in music?
I mean, I took piano lessons as a kid for a bunch of years, and I took some college classes. So my before I taught, the job that I had landed that was supposed to be my first job out of college was to be a wedding singer. I was very excited. I wanted to be a performer, as a little kid, and I guess I still am now, just not of the voice. And so yeah, I guess that was my informal training. I'm a shower singer, I'm a karaoke gal, and I used to do some songwriting and performing, and it is for me, like, that's my stress relief. When I'm feeling pain, I write, I perform, I sing. And so my kids, on a Sunday morning, when they're trying to like eat their breakfast and play their games, I'm banging on the piano, and I think at first they want me to play something they know, but they've come to really enjoy seeing me in my zone.
I love it. I love it. And family. With all the challenges we faced this year, just really family spending quality time together, keeping safe, and I hope and trust that you and your family continue to do so. Let's
Thank
switch
you.
gears a little bit, Rebecca, and go a little deeper. You took the helm at the Miami Foundation, began your tenure as president and CEO in June, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But on May 25th, the entire world uh, saw the horrific incident in Minneapolis with George Floyd. And from your vantage point, and certainly you've given us some context personally, professionally, as it relates to social justice and trauma. What are your thoughts as it relates to what needs to be done in the
Hmm.
social justice space to really make a positive difference?
That's a big question. I mean, so what's been really interesting this year is that you can't look away. I think the incidents like what happened with George Floyd, this is not new. This is not new. But now that we have cell phones, everywhere you go, I mean, we're capturing the trauma with a live studio audience, and you can't look away and you can't unsee it. And so I think, I mean, when I said before, like, this year was a wake up, like, that is what happened this year, is that, like, there has been trauma, generational trauma, not even under the surface in our country, but people who would like to pretend that, things are equitable and that's part of our past, I think, had to confront and stare in the face with the fact that, like, this is happening now, and that there are so many systems across our country that are just rife with inequity, and you cannot look away. Like, we must do something, and I think us, like, as well, being home in this moment and in a state of reflection already, it just like it ripped open the wound. And so I've been proud in this year to see people really paying attention and feeling pain out loud, and for it to be a national awakening moment, and not one that just our Black brothers and sisters are carrying by themselves, but that my white colleagues are feeling deep pain and reflecting and feeling discomfort with the status quo. I think it was a very, very important part of our year this year. But
No
I didn't get
question.
to your bigger question of like, well, what are we supposed to do? Like what's needed? I mean, if there was a quick recipe for this, we would be doing it, right?
Mhm. That's exactly right. And it takes all of us. And I thank you for being an ally. I mean, and you've been in the you've been in the trenches, making a difference, in the space of education. And speaking of education, we talked when I first really spoke with you as president and CEO of the Miami Foundation. We talked about mentoring
Mm.
and the misconception with a capital M of mentoring, the impact of mentoring, and mentoring being nice, but there's so many other deeper causes. And certainly I am in no way minimizing the other incredible work that's being done. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But as we talk about mentoring and moving the needle and mentoring not being just nice, but necessary. You served, as you said, on the Florida State Board of Education, the youngest person, if I'm not mistaken, and you served a 7-year term, a 4-year term,
4-year
correct?
term. Yeah.
A 4-year term. I don't want to do 7.
7-person
I
board.
don't want to mix up terms because that gets a little
Right.
outside the realm. 4 years is enough. I'll just leave it right there. You served a 4-year term as and the youngest person, correct?
And the poorest.
Okay, that wasn't in the bio system. But nevertheless, when you think about moving the needle in education and promoting education and resiliency in our youth, what role does mentoring play from your vantage point and experience?
Yeah. I mean, so when I think about this question, like it feels personal. I think anyone who's in a significant leadership role, like it didn't happen by accident, and it didn't happen by yourself. It's like, who were the muses and the mentors and the people who you channeled along the way, or who gave you your leg up and your connections? I mean, for me in that role and in my current life, I have many mentors for myself. I bet you do as well. And when I think about I still talk to my own students from 4th grade. I mean, it's been a long time at this point. They are grown-ups with children and master's degrees at this point. And those relationships last and endure. And it is amazing to see that, a small amount of my time in somebody's life really shaped what they became, for better or for worse. It's a really powerful, I feel like as adults, we forget how much kids are soaking in of who we are and what we do for them. But to make sure that every single kid has somebody who is championing them and who believes in them and will give them access and perspective outside of whatever it is that they already are experiencing, it was really important for me in my own upbringing. And I see for every kid in my life, either through the education system or just in my personal life, how much that unleashes for kids to have a relationship of someone who's rooting for them.
There's no doubt. And I tell you what, Rebecca, December 22nd, I'll be reading a story, a children's book to a group of children online, keeping everything safe, of course. But the book that I'm reading and that I chose was written by one of our little sisters and grew up in Coconut Grove. And her big sister would always give her a book to read. And truth be told, little sister LaShawn would say, she always bringing me another book to read. I don't want to read a book. I want to go and have some fun. But what began was a journey of friendship, certainly improving her literacy and improving her schoolwork. Dr. LaShawn Daly,
Yes.
author of Mr. Okra Sells Fruits and Veggies, a children's book that I'll be reading. Shout out to little sister LaShawn. So when you talk about your educational background, and here's this little girl, little Black girl matched to a white female who it wasn't about race. It was about the relationship. And the reason why this podcast is community conversation, we deal with humanity. There's so much that can divide us. Everybody has their own beliefs and they're entitled to have those. But the power. And so this young lady who also became a big sister later on when she went to Tulane, and so now UC Berkeley, author, doctor. That's the power of education and mentoring. And it just feels so good to have folks on the battlefield and in the trenches like you from an investment standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, and just as an ally. So that's the power of mentoring. And I
Yeah.
hope, Rebecca, as we move forward, as an organization, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Miami, and as a philanthropic institution, that we continue to recognize, because it is a misconception with so many. I've had this conversation, and when I start putting it into quantifiable as well as qualitative context, people are like, wow, you're right, that's the thread. Yes, it's not the be all end all, but it's clearly the thread. So I got to ask you, who meant to give us one example? You've had many mentors, I know, but
Yeah.
who comes to mind as you think about what you do today in leading a large organization and being a community leader? Who comes to mind as one of your mentors, and what did she or he teach you?
Yeah. So, I mean, I have mentors now today as well. And I will say, sometimes people are deliberate mentors and sometimes they're accidental or don't even realize they're mentoring you. And sometimes what you're learning from them is how to be, and sometimes what you're learning is how not to be.
Hmm.
The thing I'm really enjoying now in my middle age is that I have sought for myself a young mentor, not someone that I mentor, and I mentor her as well, but she is a mentor for me. She's 24 years old,
Hmm.
and she keeps me live and present. She's a transgender woman. And when I met her, she was just out of college, and she was so aware and awake to so many of the injustices in the country. And I just, as I listened to her speak, I thought to myself, this generation gets it in a way that I feel like my generation needs to be listening to carefully. And I want to not just be helpful to her in her growth, but I need her to mentor me. And often I digest things that are going on in the community with her, and just to hear her perspective and her take. And she pushes me, and I really value it. I need it. And so I would encourage anyone who's watching, whether they're a big brother, whether they're a big brother or a little brother, that you make sure that you have generational mentors from different eras who we see things from different lenses from what we inherited in this world while we were living it and freshest. And so I'm valuing my 80-year-old mentors, and I'm valuing my 20-year-old mentors right now.
I love that. And so often, and obviously I've been in the youth mentoring space. I'll just share a little bit of context for you about me. Prior to coming to Big Brothers Big Sisters, I ran a boarding school for juvenile delinquent boys. And
Beautiful.
I would tell them, hey, I would call them gentlemen, because messaging matters.
Yeah.
Secondly, when the state and other officials would come in and say, okay, these juvenile offenders, yeah, they made a mistake. They made bad decisions, but they're not bad boys. I mean, it is so important that our children hear that. But to your point, Rebecca, I learned so much from those young men, and many of them black and brown, vast majority. I like brilliance, resilience, but yet they had there was some street mentoring. They were following the wrong crowd. They were, their companionships were not always very healthy, and so having discussions like that. And to your point, when you think about the inherent assumption that a mentor has to be someone older, or I don't use the word old, I say more seasoned than you. You're so right. Our kids can teach us so much: authenticity, frankness, and just not holding back. And sometimes we become so packaged as adults that we forget. And many of our bigs tell us that I've learned so much from my little sister. I've learned so much from my little brother, as well. And so it's
Yeah.
such a valid point, Rebecca. Let me
Thank
say
you.
this. As we think about education, as we think about mentoring, uh, philanthropy, and a space that you are certainly familiar with, and we certainly appreciate the Miami Foundation. As we think about all the challenges that we face here in Miami, and quite frankly across this country and our nation, what role does philanthropy play as it relates to just making a big impact? And I'm not just talking about swiping a check. I mean that's the obvious answer. Oh yeah, we fund everything, but no. And as we talk about measurable, meaningful impact, what role does philanthropy play from your vantage point?
Yeah. So ask me in a year and I'll probably have a deeper answer for you because I'm so fresh to the
Mm,
philanthropy game. I really spent most of my career on the other side, leading nonprofit organizations and working with grassroots leaders. And so what's been fun and is revealing itself to me as I step into this role is how power moves
mm,
and how money indicates trust and value. And philanthropy is about bringing together wealth to have impact in a community. And so, how is the power moving? And where are we trusting? And one of the things that like really hurt my soul as I investigate system level racism across this country is like what has been a system level wrong within the field of philanthropy. And I saw this study that like ripped at my heart recently. It was a 2016 study that the New York Times had published about that only, the statistic is crazy, 0.6%, less than a percent of foundation dollars nationally in 2016 went to Black women,
mm.
to organizations led by Black women who are, in my mind, like championing at the front line some of the most innovative and important solutions for our country. I think to myself, how is it possible that we are not investing in the women at the front lines of solutions across our country in this way? Why is it so inequitable? Why does it look like that? And I just, it's a lot of what I'm thinking about these days is my responsibility and our responsibility to understand, where did this wealth come from? What are the inequities behind wealth creation in our country and wealth distribution in our country? And how do we invest in building a stronger society? What are the criteria for getting access to dollars, to grant making dollars and philanthropic dollars? And how do I, at the foundation in my community, set tone for how we think and how we invest, and what are the criteria and what are the expectations, and how do we tell the story about impact and motivate collaboration? And so I see some real inequities in there, and I also see that often we're pitting change makers against each other in like a hunger game for dollars for their work, as opposed to figuring out how to bring people together towards solutions with each other. And so, I mean, I am just at the very beginning of my leadership at this organization, but what I realize is that when I make a statement about our values as an institution, it creates a ripple effect for the community at large. And so I have to be really careful what I say and what I prioritize and how I give and what criteria I set, because others imitate. And similar to what we were talking about before with mentorship and youth, like adults need to be careful what they do. People are watching. And so I see the same thing for all of us who are leading large institutions right now. The choices we make, they influence the environment around us.
And Rebecca, I tell you what, the task is certainly won't be easy, but I will say this to you, the opportunity to really shift a paradigm, because the Hunger Games illustration is so appropriate. And when we think about collective impact, when we think about, okay, to address the ills of social justice, it's not one organization, it will take all of us. So it's not about coming to the table and just representing said organization, in my case Big Brothers Big Sisters, but let's connect Big Brothers Big Sisters of Miami with the following entities and watch the needle move, be it housing and health and mentorship, of course. That's, and from my vantage point, because I've seen this movie before, been part of collaborations, and we had a community compact years ago funded by the Florida Department of Education. Incredible, bringing in higher institutions of higher learning with grassroots organizations, and it works, as opposed to the quote unquote competing for the same dollar. So I know you've probably heard that many times, and again, you can count on me to be there with you every step of the way to assist in helping other organizations, because what I've seen, not only locally but nationally as well, when folks say I want to start a mentoring organization, I say, how about we collaborate and I can help you save a whole lot on infrastructure, and we can still join forces and you can still achieve your goal. That's the spirit that I hope you see more of, not only in our beautiful city but really in philanthropy as a whole.
Amen.
And so with that, Give Miami Day, your
Ugh,
first Give Miami Day. First of
yes.
all, couple words. Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's like Hamilton. Awesome. Wow. So I had to go there. And just take us behind the scenes, if you will. Have you gotten some sleep since Give Miami Day? I got to ask you that as well.
The truth is no, I have not. I really thought, it's similar to like the end of 2020. Like we think the year is going to end and COVID's gone and all the problems are lifted. And I'm like, no, no, like now behind the scenes is the end of the year push where we're making sure all the nonprofits get the reporting that they need. Everybody wants to make their last donations of the year. Performance evaluations for our team and making sure everybody's strong and growing. So no, I have not slept. I am looking forward to sleeping. But I gotta say, this was a hard year. This was a divisive year, and Give Miami Day just gave me life again, because that day is about everyone standing together. It's about the community standing together, giving together, earning together, and we showed up. We showed up this year in a way that, and it's always been it's successful. And it's almost 10 years that this organization, that Miami Foundation's been running this. But I was worried, this is a year of anxiety for people financially. And so we knew that people individually were going to give less, not because they care less, but because they have given and given and given. There's a massive election cycle. People were contributing and contributing and contributing. And then, related to all of the issues they cared about this year, people have depleted to the bottom of their own savings and also are very anxious financially themselves. And so we knew that individually people were going to have to give less, and that the only way that we could raise more that day is if we doubled the amount of people who gave. And so it was amazing to see. We had 55,000 donations come in that day, and we raised $18 million in a day, up from 14 the previous year. It was a showing. We showed up.
Well, congratulations on that. Congratulations on leading the Miami Foundation. We cherish our relationship. On behalf of all the little brothers and little sisters, I just want to thank you for the investment in mentoring, the partnership. And I really look forward to just having ongoing conversations and partnering with you to help move the needle, to help humanity, and to really continue. And Give Miami Day was just a pivot point. Because what a powerful statement. Miami, congratulations on that. Congratulations to you and your team, Rebecca. And let's do this together, because this theme of the show, and I got to put it in here, because in the game of life, everybody makes the team, but how you play is up to you. And Miami, you played it well for Give Miami Day. Rebecca, I appreciate you spending a little time with me today. And just so you know, the next segment on the show will be, we're talking about the gift of philanthropy and mentoring. The next segment will be a set of twins who are matched with two incredible big sisters. Rebecca, I will be in touch with you. We're going to do a lot more together, my sister. Welcome to the Game of Life Mentoring Podcast. I am Gail Nelson, your host, the president and CEO of Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Miami. And we are just so fortunate to talk about the gift of philanthropy and mentoring. But we had some incredible people that are family. As a matter of fact, we have the whole family here today. We're going to talk about putting up your dukes. Now, some of you may think that talks about fighting. We're talking about fighting for humanity, fighting for pro-social, just relationships. So I am pleased to introduce to our entire network. Not only do we have big sister Allison Weiss Brady, but also big sister Brooke Brown with their littles, who are not so little anymore. And so welcome to the Game of Life Mentoring Podcast and Community Conversation. Allison, how are you doing today?
I am great. I'm excited to put up my dukes and share our story with Big Brother, Big Sisters. So thank you so much for having us on today.
Oh, Allison, I've known you for a long time, and it just gets better and better. Thank you. Brooke, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm, coming in from Kansas City. Love seeing my family here on the screen, and thank you so much for having me as a guest today.
It's an absolute pleasure. And there are two young ladies side by side. It may say Annette Dukes on the screen, but we got Jeanette and Annette. Ladies, how you doing?
Hi, we're doing great. So glad to be here, Glenn. It's so great to see you and see, of course, our family all on one screen together. It's been a while.
Even though we're in different states, I'm still here.
Go ahead, Annette. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I said,
Oh,
No, you're okay. I said even though we're in different states, our big sister we still feel the love, even though we still, we're bigger, but we still feel their love and stuff.
Oh my God, I feel the love
It was
on
good
this.
to
I
see
feel
you
love
too.
on the screen. And let me tell you something. There's more Dukes where they came from. And let me tell you something. Destiny Dukes, what's going on? Good to have you with us, Destiny Dukes. How are you?
Hey, Glenn, I'm well and yourself.
I'm
Thanks for
doing well. Now,
having me.
everybody's calling me Glenn. I had an uncle Glenn. I am Gail
Gail,
Nelson.
I'm sorry, Gail.
It's all right, Destiny. It's all right. So I know it's all right. This is the beauty of what I love about live. We can talk. We can, I may call. So I'm gonna call Jeanette Annette just to be funny as well. So it's all good. No, I would never do that. So Destiny, thanks for being with us today.
Beyonce, Destiny, Beyonce, it all works. It doesn't
It's,
matter.
I love it. But you know what? There would be no Destiny, Jeanette, or Annette without Mom. And we're going to talk to Mom in just a minute. We're going to walk down memory lane first. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring in Mama Dukes to talk to us a little bit. So let's start with everybody just kind of chiming in for a little bit. I want bigs and littles working with me on this. We're going to call this Walk Down Memory Lane. So let's start here. Brooke, what's going on here with all four of you all matching and sharp and everything?
Yes, well, this actually was an event at Ball Harbor Shops for Fashion Week in the fall. And so I believe it was in 2011. So yeah, we were looking sharp and feeling good, and it was a fun night.
You guys definitely do your thing. And now this is a nice one. Annette, talk to me.
so this one is when we were at a gathering and we had just haven't seen each other in a little while and we just got together for some dinner here in Miami. Well, there in Miami.
Excellent. Now, Allison, I must ask, there's a handsome gentleman in that photo that you may know a little bit about. Who's the gentleman in there?
That good-looking gentleman is my husband, Chip.
Excellent, excellent. And certainly part of the family. Let's go
He
now. Let's
is,
keep on.
yes, definitely.
Love it. Now, what do we have here? Somebody help me with this one.
Well, these are just a few postcards that Allison sent me from all of her different travels. So everywhere she went, she sent me a love, a postcard saying, what she's saying, how am I doing, and she can't wait to see me again. So I just held on dear to those over the years, and I'm glad I did because it's so.
Can you tell me how old were you when you got your first postcard from your big sister Allison? Give me roughly.
So I met her at 9. I can say I probably got my first card because we were inseparable at first. So I'll say about 13, got my first card, and then I just kept them ever since. I know one dates back to the early 2000s, so yeah.
Incredible, incredible. Let's keep walking down memory lane. Brooke, help me with this one. The one on the left of my screen. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was, an event, I believe, at Allison's home. And, we like to dress up in Miami style and look good. And, Allison is always so hospitable to us. And so it was a fun night again.
Excellent. Excellent. You guys definitely dress up. There's no doubt. There's a theme here of dressing up. Speaking of dressing up and events, here's another event, I think. Talk to me about this one, someone.
Well, we all came together for Allison's house with for a charity event, and it was a really great night. It really was.
Always working together, always looking the part, supporting great causes. But now this wins the Cutie Pie Award. I don't know. So Jeanette Annette, talk to me about this beautiful photo.
So this is a photo of me and Annette. I love it so much because I feel like we kind of actually look like twins on this one. And we were just a few years from when we got our first big sister. And the doll over here is a doll that I hold dear to me and I've kept for several years now. Allison got it for me when she went to Mexico. And I just thought it was so different and interesting. So I always held on to it. It was nice.
Beautiful, beautiful. So how old were you both when you were matched?
9. Yeah, we were 9.
9 years old. Incredible. Incredible. Let's take a look at this one. Speaking of experiences.
So Jeanette, do you want to talk about this first, and then I can sort of fill in some of the details?
Oh, yes. Okay, I'm sorry. I was a little delayed, I think. Okay, so yes, this is when we were at the Marlin Stadium. We were with Glenn Johnson. I really remember this day pretty well because I remember seeing those cheerleaders and dancing like them, and wanting to dance like them. And I actually got to meet them, and I got a baseball signed, and it was a great night. It was a great day.
It's super fun. Glenn Johnson is a client of mine. He was a light heavyweight boxing champion. And so he threw out the ceremonial first pitch of the Marlins game. So you can see him in the white Marlins shirt in the upper right. And so we were on the field, or, right next to the field, and he threw out the pitch, and there's Jeanette with the cheerleaders and, Billy the Marlin. So it was a fun day. And I think it was a great experience for her.
And one of the things I wanted to stress is there's so many opportunities that bigs and littles spending time together, and just incredible. And I know Jeanette, obviously Allison's your second big sister, but you had an experience for a short time with another big. Tell us about it.
Yes, it was Darnie. That's her name. She was a great big sister. She was a college student. So she taught me that hard work is something that, you want it, you got to work hard for it. So she was amazing. And over here to that's the Miami Dolphins football. We went to Miami Dolphins game. That was great. And then baseball is actually from the Glenn Johnson event that I went to with the Marlin Stadium. They gave me that signed baseball. So that was great.
Excellent. So to all the college students out there, get involved. You never know. Spend that extra time and help somebody else along the way. And last but not least, in terms of our photos, Allison, this one, I think this was a day you may remember. Can you give us the date? No pressure at all, Allison. I'll give you a little time. Can you give us a date of this photo? And hopefully Chip is within earshot, because if you can't give me the date, I will have you call a friend named Chip. He better be able to give me the date. Talk to me, Allison.
So I think I remember this day. I'm trying. The dress sort of looks familiar. That white satin there. March 4th, 2006. So that was Chip and my wedding day, and so I was thrilled that Jeanette, Annette, and their mom could join us, and it was wonderful. It was at Vizcaya Gardens, right in Coconut Grove, so in Miami. It was terrific, and obviously, one of the best days of my life. So I was thrilled that they could be there to join us.
Excellent. Beautiful photo, beautiful day, beautiful people. And that concludes our walk down memory lane tour. So now, as we talk about family, thank you all for helping our audience recognize and understand this. It's the little things: quality time, family, attending events, exposing our littles to so many different things. But now I need to talk to Mama Dukes. It's time to put up our Dukes. We're going to talk. And you know what's great about talking to mamas? Mamas can say anything they want because they're Mama Bear. And so, Miss Dukes, thanks for joining us today.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Now, let's be real for a minute. Tell us about when you signed up your daughters for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and maybe some of the things that might have been said were said to you, and the results of you signing them up. Go ahead, Mama Dukes.
Well, when I was a kid, I had a friend that had a big sister, and I couldn't understand how it was her big sister if it wasn't her mother's child or her father's child. Long story short, I found out that it was a program. And so I was fortunate enough to go on a few outings with her. Fast forward 25, 30 years, then I'm a parent. And my twins, their father died when they were 3. And then I found myself in a position, as most of the people in my neighborhood were fatherless children. And so I remembered this program, Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So after talking with some family members and friends, telling them what I wanted to do, I was discouraged by them. They were saying, oh no, you don't want that. It's only white people. You don't want white people in your family and in your business. But I didn't have that mindset. So I applied. I made that phone call. I applied. I did the application. I guess you would say the caseworker for Big Brothers and Big Sisters came to my house, met my children, got all that information, and said she'll get back with me, and she did. And in doing so, she introduced us to several people, and none looked like us. And I was interested. My children were interested, And that's what we did. Jeanette had Darnie in the beginning, and Annette had Eileen, and Destiny had Betty. And Betty is still part of our lives. And then as time went on, we were introduced to Allison and Brooke. And these ladies have been phenomenal in our lives. They have encouraged us. They've lifted us up. They've actually shown us that it's more to life than the area we lived in. We lived in the inner city, the hood, if you will, where if you had a car and your lights were still on, you were doing good. So these people taught us what commitment was and is. They taught us what it means to work hard and to be determined. And in doing so, it catapulted me into going back to school, not only as an older woman, but a disabled woman. I went back to school as my children were in high school, and I went to Barry University and I got my master's degree. And my children are following suit. So we were recognized in the Miami Times, which we do call the Negro newspaper, and that's just what we call it. And we were recognized as something good still coming out of the hood. I can't thank these ladies enough, all of them. And I encourage any parents or any people that are listening to this iPod to please understand that it's not how you look, it's not where you come from, it's not what your economic bracket is, it's not even what your religion is. People genuinely care about people, and if we take it for what it's worth and apply it, these people can help you find a better path, expose you to better things in life. And that's what's going on with our family at this time. Thank God for these wonderful people and this wonderful program.
Everybody put up your dukes. I need everybody to put up your dukes.
We got them up.
Let me tell you something. When we talk about the fight, not a physical fight, but to really just promote humanity. The name of this podcast is a Game of Life Mentoring Podcast. Why do I call it the Game of Life? Because everybody makes a team in life, but how you play is up to you. What Miss Dukes just said, the inspiration of a big, just really inspired a family. The Dukes family didn't need to be fixed. The potential was already there, but the inspiration of somebody, even if somebody doesn't look like you, doesn't speak the same language, doesn't come from, have the same background. When it comes to humanity, we're all in this together. So I got to just stay there for a minute. With so many things that have happened in 2020. Thank you, Ms. Dukes, for sharing such a powerful testament to why we exist as an organization. We've been around since 1958 here in Miami. I've been fortunate to work here for 14 years and humbled to serve as president and CEO. But the reason we exist, the reason we come to work every day is to match folks like Allison and Brooke to incredible, incredible people like Destiny, Jeanette, and Annette. So thank you for those kind words and the thought-provoking candor by which you shared as well. Allison and Brooke, how did you all find out and about Big Brothers, Big Sisters? And tell us just really how you've seen these incredible young ladies grow. We'll start with you, Allison.
I wrote this in my bio that I had submitted to you at Big Brother, Big Sister, but it's probably not the typical way, but I don't necessarily know that I'm the typical person. So I happened to be watching MTV one day. Nick Lachey and Jessica Simpson, they had a newlywed show. And Nick Lachey was on TV, and I know he raises a lot of money for Big Brother, Big Sister. He was on TV with a little brother. And I said to my husband, you know, I do a lot of fun events with celebrities, and it seems like Nick showing his little brother a great time. I was like, I have all these events and all this access to all these wonderful experiences. If he has time for Big Brother, Big Sister, then I definitely have time for Big Brother, Big Sister. And so then like a day or two later, I called. And then I went through the application process, and then I met Jeanette's family. And it's been an amazing experience. So I've been with Jeanette, matched with Jeanette since she was 9 years old. Now they're 25. So, you know, I've seen them grow up. I think for me, Jeanette and I socially have a very outgoing personality, a lot of the same interests in sports and entertainment. So Big Brothers Big Sisters did a great job in matching us. For me, I wanted to expose her to different career opportunities that I potentially might be good for her in the future. So whether that was, sports or fitness or entertainment, or that sort of was one of my goals, is just to expose her to, open her eyes and see the possibilities of a career in her future. She and her family have been nothing but delight. I love them. I was thrilled they could share my wedding day with me. It's been my absolute pleasure to have been involved with Big Brothers and Sisters. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity. So I thank you, Gail. I've known you for a long time. I thank you for this opportunity.
Oh my goodness, the feeling is so mutual. Brooke, tell us about how you heard about Big Brothers Big Sisters, and certainly your relationship with Annette.
Yeah, so in 2009, I was working at Mount Sinai Hospital Foundation in Miami, Florida. And Allison, I believe she was pregnant with her first daughter at that time. And we crossed paths then and became friends. And she was telling me about her involvement as a big sis with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and that her little Jeanette had a twin, Annette, that needed to be rematched because her first big moved away as things happen in life and career. And so that's when I initially, heard about it. And in 2009, I lost my father to suicide, and it was really hard. And, I decided that I wanted to shift my energy into something positive and give back to the community. And when I found out that Annette had, also had lost her father at a young age, I just felt that it was, I don't know, we just clicked, and I was really happy to be matched with her. We both love basketball. Annette, I don't know if you remember when we used to play, and I forced you to use your left hand instead of your right hand, and then you became an amazing basketball player and went on to college. We've had great memories from going to Marlins games and Heat games, and just building that relationship. I also recall a time where Annette and Jeanette, we both all of us, we volunteered for Habitat for Humanity, and we were painting homes in a certain neighborhood. Ladies, do you remember this story? Annette, do you want to share like what happened when we went to your house?
When we painted the houses, correct? That's what you mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of foggy. I remember that.
So we went to your grandma's house, and we inspired others to go to your grandma's house, and we ended up painting her house that day.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Kind of foggy, I'm not gonna lie, but I do remember.
Well, I remember it because it was a lot of work, and we were thirsty, but it was for such a good cause, and it was in a neighborhood that we were familiar with, which is where my grandma stayed at. It's not the best neighborhood, but it was great to know that we were doing better for that community. So
yeah, so a lot of great memories.
Incredible. Thank you for that, Brooke. And I know Mom had popped in. I'm gonna go to Destiny now to piggyback on some of the things that Mom mentioned. But Mom, did you want to say something? Because anytime Mama pops up, I'm calling on Mom in terms of helping Grandma's house. Go ahead, Mom. Mama Dukes.
No, I just want to say, as I hear Allison and Brooke reflect on all the different activities and the things that we did together, I mean, I'm getting teary-eyed because I'm like, oh my God, I remember when they painted my mom's house. I mean, I remember going to Allison's wedding. I was terrified, and I'm like, because I didn't like to go out that much, and just how they just encouraged me to get out of the house and just live, and my children to be exposed to so many different things.
You're gonna have us
I'm not
all
gonna
crying,
say
Mama.
anything else.
No, you're gonna have us all crying here. I'm trying to run a show without crying. I've never cried on any of my shows. I've gotten a little misty, but Mama, this may be record breaking just in time for the holidays. You got the brother running the show crying. Thanks a lot, Mama Duke.
It's all true.
No, I love it. I love it. And congratulations. And let me just say this. How about this? Let's give Mom a hand for going back, getting her degree. Got her.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Mama Dukes. Congratulations.
Definitely wasn't easy.
but you're a hard worker, and I can see just the love you have for your children and the love you have for those who want to assist others. Destiny,
Yes.
talk to us about just anything you want to share in terms of this family and the impact of Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Go ahead, Destiny.
Hey, Gail. So our impact was like divine, for lack of better terms, but it is the best term. It was definitely divine because, like my mom said, her going to Allison wedding, these pairings were more than just activities or mentorships. They were inspirational, they were encouraging, and they also helped lift our family, like from a place that we were almost drowning, for lack of better terms, again, because like my mom going to Allison wedding, it was at Viscaya's garden, and that's a huge walking location, and my mom hadn't like walked long distances in over 10 years. She was like bedridden and in the house most of the time, and so I think her matching us with big sister big brothers was a cry for help for her children, and it actually was effective. Because not to put anyone else down, but from the product of our environment, the statistics are not great. And by the grace of God and the mentorship from this organization and these ladies, we've escaped all the negative statistics that have been put on us and that have been set for us. And by Allison being public relations, being into public relations. She doesn't know this, but my family knows. I spent about 2 years in school going to be a publicist because I was inspired by her lifestyle and her work. And then also, my sisters know this, like, well, there's a lot of teenage pregnancy and stuff in our neighborhood, and we can easily become victims of this. But we made vows through some program, an event that we went to, but I also made a vow to myself that I wouldn't have children until I'm married, until I can afford my chauffeur and nanny. And this isn't because of financial, but it's because I've been inspired by lifestyles like Brooks and Allison's, and my big sister Betty, who's I've been paired with for 18 years now, who have all waited until they were in a better position to have children, to have their career in line, and to actually be a more effective human being in this earth. And so that's what this organization has done for us, and exposed us and inspired us to be better individuals. And we couldn't have asked for better pairs.
I tell you what, I thought Mama Dukes had me, but now Destiny starts talking, and so now I got a lump in my throat right now, and I just appreciate just how open and honest, and I know it just has to be so heartwarming, Allison, Brooke, to hear this.
Gail,
Go ahead. Yes, yes.
So based, sort of talking about what Destiny mentioned. Destiny, can you mention briefly the college degrees and master degrees that you and your sisters and your mom now have, and how successful you've been in your educational and job career? Can you talk about some of the degrees that you guys have gotten?
Yeah, all of this is a testament to exposure and inspiration, and thanks to this organization. So each of me and my sisters, both all three of us have associate's degrees. We all have graduated high school, have associate's degree. Annette and Jeanette are both working on their bachelor's. Jeanette is becoming a firefighter. She completed her EMT training already. Annette is continuing her education in special education. And I recently graduated from the University of Miami with my MBA. And my mother has her master's in social work from Barry University. And
Well,
that's
right.
why I was saying the numbers don't lie. We escape the statistics of our neighborhood solely off of divine purpose and inspiration from this organization and these ladies.
Well, put up your dukes again, everybody. I'm sorry.
Those dukes up.
We're fighting for education too.
We are.
Humanity, education. I mean, I tell you what, I hope I can make it through the rest of this show, because you guys are the gift that keeps on giving. Here we are in the holiday season. There's so many things that we are thankful for, but certainly this has been a challenging year. Let me switch gears for a minute. It's not lost on me. I'm the product of the inner city Toledo, Ohio, raised by a single mother. Parents divorced when I was 2 years old. Were it not for mentorship, I wouldn't be the man I am today. And many of my mentors, some looked like me, some did not. So I absolutely appreciate what the Dukes family has shared. And now to lead a mentoring organization, when this becomes work, I got to do something else. And so bottom line is I love what I do because of who you all are. And I mean that sincerely. But 2020 has been a challenge. That's not breaking news. But a lot of social justice issues a lot of it rooted and grounded in racism, where unfortunately, unlike all of you, folks who come from different backgrounds, look black versus white and all of this. I mean, have you all had any discussions as bigs and littles, as part of this mentoring family, about some of the challenges facing our society today? And so, what does that look like? Let's start with either Allison or Brooke. Just have you guys talked with each other about any of that?
This is Allison. I have not talked about the race issue. I think more in 2020 I've talked about COVID and how it's harder to stay focused on school if it's virtual or career-wise, just trying to sort of help everyone stay focused on their career goals and stay on track for the certificates that you get. She's been working hard to get the firewomen and all these degrees. So just to sort of focus on that, that's sort of the mentoring piece that I've had since she was 9. So that's sort of where my focus has been, to be honest. So I haven't discussed that piece with her, but it's an important thing to discuss. So, you bring up a great point that I should.
Well, no, it's great. And I love the fact that the coaching you provided to her, you already have the relationship. It's not like you have to tell Jeanette, oh, breaking news, your big sister is white. Mama already made that clear. So you guys are sisters. And so what I love about what you said, Allison, is you told her in the midst of all these challenges, in the midst of COVID, in the midst of a pandemic, stay focused, get that certification, get your career on track, and don't allow anything to distract you. So that's absolutely good advice. Brooke, what about you? Have you and Annette had any discussions about any challenge facing 2020, inclusive of racism as well, if need be?
Not exactly specifically. I do recall back in late May and early June, especially after George Floyd's murder, and just with the riots going on and protest, I did, text Annette, just like, hey, how are you doing? Just kind of check in, even as it relates to the pandemic. What's going on in your world? I will back it up a little bit. I recall Valerie having a conversation with me, and even Annette and I talking about just even internally in the Black community, like the different colors, whether you're a light brown or darker brown, and how there's that and I had I continue to learn from them. I didn't know that there was, their own internal ways of one looked at color. And so that was interesting to me, and maybe Valerie can speak more about that. But, I continue to learn and grow, and we learn from each other. We're a mentor for each other and things that we might have been blinded to.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that I want people to understand that when it comes to mentoring, here we are with the Dukes family, with Big Sister Allison, Big Sister Brooke, on the Game of Life Mentoring Podcast. We're getting real, we're getting raw, because this is about family. And we're going to hear from Valerie and Destiny as well, because one of the things that in terms of challenges, it's a two-way street. The big learns from the little, and the little learns from the big. I hope you all understand that are listening to us today. This is a two-way street. So Mama Dukes, what do you have to share?
Well, just to piggyback off what Brooke was saying, we did have that conversation with Brooke about different skin colors. What a lot of people may not know is that a lot of the racism that Black people experience does come from within the Black community. If you're a red bone, high yellow, paper sack brown, pecan tan, all those different names. And I happen to have 3 daughters that are of 3 different colors in the Black race. We have Destiny, she's bright skinned. We have Jeanette, that's mocha. And then there's Annette, she's, very dark. And I taught them as little girls, people are gonna stigmatize you for this, this, and that. And so when I made that decision to utilize the No Child Left Behind scholarship to take them from the inner city all the way to Key Biscayne, and was provided bus service, it's amazing that in our Black neighborhood, the bus drivers were really rude. And it got to the point I said, they're not going to school there anymore. And Allison jumped in and said, Valerie, that's a very good school. You made a good choice. If I have to come and pick Jeanette and Annetta and Destiny, I will. Do not take them from that school. And I never did. I kept them in that school, and they learned a lot. People don't understand, in some of our inner city schools, my children were not getting that same education. And that's something that I want our listeners to know. You have to be strong with the PTA. You have to know what's going on in your community and in your schools, and let our Black people know that it's time to stop discriminating against each other for who's lighter, who hair is better. These are real problems within our neighborhood. And I instilled in my children that people are people. And I know we discuss, about the deaths at the hands of police officers, the discrimination at the hands of people of different race from ourselves. However, I told my children, you treat people the way you want to be treated. And that's what we've done with these wonderful ladies. And these wonderful ladies didn't look at us any differently. They didn't say, oh, they're a little dark. Oh, their hair is a little nappy. No, they embraced us for who we were, and they helped us to be better people.
Now, let me ask you this, Mama Dukes. Are you auditioning to be a co-host of my podcast? It sounds like that's what you're doing.
You know what? I'm just so thrilled for this opportunity. And I just thank God for all the blessings that he sends our way and all. And if I can do anything to help anyone, to encourage anyone, or to uplift anyone, and let them know it's more to life than that little area that we're in. So it's time to spread our wings and fly.
Oh, beautiful, Mama Dukes. Thank you.
Gail, this is Allison. So
yes.
I, as much credit as everyone's giving Big Brothers Big Sister, which I totally agree with, I have to say that Valerie is the one who has spearheaded all of this. She's the one who has been extremely bright and has pushed her kids to reach their potential. She was smart to sign up for Big Brothers Big Sisters. She was, trying to get her kids into the best schools possible. When there were sorority sisters offering tutoring after school, she signed up. She has done everything she could do to get her kids, give them the best life possible. So I really think there's a lot of accolades that, are due to Valerie and her vision.
And Allison, I tell you what, there is no mentoring. There are no matches without Mama, because someone has to sign these children up. So thank you, Miss Dukes, for trusting Big Brothers Big Sisters with your children. Thank you for your resilience. And I could not have put it any better. What Allison said, you have been
absolutely,
and we are here to support you and your family. So thank you for just being a part of this discussion, so that everybody knows that trust and relationships and humanity is what it's all about. So thank you for that.
Amen.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Destiny, you wanted to share a little bit as well, because I'm going to Jeanette and Annette to talk about why these beautiful ladies, Allison and Brooke, will always be your sisters and always be family. So Destiny, go ahead.
Awesome. Well, before we get there, I just want to talk about the times that my big sister and I have talked about race. She's actually Cuban, but off of first appearance, she would look, white. So she was a principal at the first time when I first met her, and I would go out to the schools and she would introduce me as her little sister. And of course, the students, how's she your little sister? She's Black, you're white. And being that I'm a little fair skinned, that she would lie and say, oh, we have the same father, just like as a joke. And the children knew she was joking, but we went along with it until I think I got like 13, and she thought it was time for a serious conversation. And she had that conversation with me about race and about how to carry myself as a double minority, as a woman, a Black woman in this industry, and how I should, sometimes it was really tangible things, like how you should speak, what type of clothing, how you should cover yourself, because she said that as a minority, you're kind of like an oddball, for lack of better terms. So you always want to be your best. You always want to go above. And she taught me these disciplines that I took with me throughout my life. I'm always wanting to excel above my peers, because I realized that I'm a double minority. And Betty, from the beginning, and along with my mom did it first, but Betty also taught me about how to be a professional and carry yourself here as a double minority.
Are you still in touch with Betty, Destiny?
I'm actually packing now to go see her. We've been paired for 18 years this October.
Oh my goodness. I need to have a reunion. Now, when it's safe to do so, let me just go ahead and put it out there. No pressure, just say yes. I need a reunion in Miami when it's safe to do so. And we're going to have a big, we do everything big in Miami. We're going to have a big dinner. I want you all to see our headquarters here in Miami, just south of the airport. We're going to roll it. We're going to roll out the red carpet. So everybody just say yes when it's safe to do so, and we'll carry on. We'll move on with the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. You all can stay. So now, speaking of that, Jeanette, thank you for that. I mean, that's incredible. Wow. Jeanette and Annette, why will Brooke and Allison always be family? Tell us about how you have grown as from little girls to young to women, and just it's your journey. Because I know someone's already mentioned a few times that Jeanette, you're going to be a first responder. And so so we talk about our national mission is to ignite the power and promise of youth. That's the Big Brothers, Big Sisters national mission statement. But now you want to do something when somebody ignites the wrong thing to put it out. Tell us about it.
Yes. So to answer your first part of the question, I mean, Allison will always be my big sister. You know what I mean? I'm not just speaking from the organization point of view. I mean, literally, you know what I mean? Like, it's like when you spend so much time with one person, it's like you don't see yourself without them. You get what I'm saying? You know, everywhere I go, it's Allison and I. And I know her family. I know her mom. I know her dad. You know, I know her husband's mom and dad. I knew her before she had kids. I knew her while she got kids. You know what I mean? And it's like, you can't go through those many stages with someone and not have a inseparable bond. And my love goes deeper than his organization, you know. And as you can see, we're on the phone right now. I'm 25. I aged out at 18. You know what I mean? And we're still here today, you know. And to go a little deeper as far as me becoming a first responder, this is one of the reasons. You know, Allison was one of the first people on scenes when I got in a car accident in 2017, February 5th, where, you know, both of our lives were almost took from us. You know what I mean? You know, it was very scary, but she was there, her and her husband. You know what I mean? They were there for me every step of the way. And to see those first responders, I'm getting a little choked up, but, you know, to see those first responders be there for me and to save me, you know what I mean? With running against the time, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to make that difference one day. And I aspire to be a big, you know what I mean? Because someone was there for me. And I know I was there, I was in their shoes, you know what I mean? So like I said, this organization, this relationship, it definitely runs a lot deeper than skin deep.
Oh, wow. Annette, go ahead. Thank you, Jeanette.
Damn,
All right,
now you guys are making me cry.
I tell you what, I should have called Kleenex or somebody to sponsor this podcast today, but that's all right. We'll take care of that later. My goodness. Annette, talk to us about your relationship.
Well, it's a lot to say, but I'm going to keep it brief. But Brooke could be my big sister forever because one, I'm 25, like my sister stated, and she's still here. She's still rocking with me. Whatever I need, if she could help me, she's there. When I was younger, like I had a problem. Like I was the darkest child. Everybody, you know, like I was bullied basically. And when Brooke came in my life, she brought light. Like I'm getting choked up too.
She let you know you were beautiful.
Like
she let her know that she was beautiful and how special she was and that her skin is what made her very beautiful. And you know, that was a lot. That was a lot for her.
I'm gonna finish. Hold on. Okay. She brought light to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? She told me I was beautiful. Like, you know, stuff like that. Wow. It's just a lot. I just love this woman. So
And that probably is what doesn't want to carry on, but they will always be our sisters. Not only do they call Annette and Jeanette their sisters, but both Brooke and Allison call me their sisters. That to the fact that we're all just family. Allison children's, we look at her children as our nieces, and when they see Jeanette, they run and hug her and just like fall all over her. Alice's oldest daughter is the funniest, and she reminds us of us. we've helped raise her because she was a part of our life. So like Jeanette said earlier, once you've had this many cycles with life, there's no way that we can see our lives without them a part of our family. So they will be forever a part of our family as we are a part of theirs.
And Brooke recently told me she got a big little sister, and it made me happy because
Yeah. It like, you know, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes we had like I had my moments like when I found that Allison was having kids, you know, I don't know, I think I went through what my older sister went through, that whole like, wait, hold on, there's another kid coming along, you know what I mean? And it was tough for me because I felt like I was gonna be forgotten, you know, because she went to doctor's appointments, you know, it was her and Chip, you know, but you know, the fact that she sat me down and talked to me and let me know that this is just another stage in our life. And she didn't have to have that conversation. I'm not her kid. You know what I mean? I'm not her sister, but she took the time out to let me know that this is another stage and we're going to get through it. And I'm glad because I adore both of her daughters and it's just a great thing. And I wish many people can experience it, you know, honestly.
her little just gonna be blessed. Just put it like that.
And her little's going to know us. Brooke's little's going to know us. You know, we're gonna, if she wants to play sports, we're gonna teach her. We're gonna, I mean, we're family. That's how it is. You stay together. So, I don't know. Sorry about that.
No, you
It
can
was
just be
actually,
real.
it came out of nowhere. I wasn't supposed to be emotional. It just, I don't but cry. It just came out.
Gail, for me, one of the best things that I could see is the great education the girls have gotten and inspired to accomplish career-wise, and now the fact that they want to be big sisters to now Brooke's new little sister is just, it goes back to the power of big brother, big sister, and just like the importance that kids see in this mentorship program and the value that we as adults see. Brooke signed up again, you know what I mean? It just shows how rewarding it is for both the big and the littles.
Incredible. Brooke, go ahead.
And to add on to that, like you know, Allison, when I had let her know, well, that I was a big sis again here in Kansas City, and Allison has a couple of daughters that she was kind enough to ship me 2 huge boxes of clothes, gently used clothes, amazing. And I took them over to my new little, and she's got another sister as well, and they were just so happy, and just, it was just, again, it's like that, it's like this family, this circle of giving. And so it's just something very special.
Well, ladies, before I close out the show, you all are the gift that keeps on giving. Mentorship is the gift that keeps on giving, as evidenced by what you all have said today. Here we are, and the Tuesday before Christmas and in the holiday season. Tell me what you all are doing for the holidays. Let's start, Brooke, let's stay with you. We'll go with Brooke, Allison, then the girls. What are y'all doing for the holidays?
Well, I'm very excited and happy that I just finished my first semester. I'm going back to school to get my MBA. So I'm actually taking a little break from working from home and studying from home. And my boyfriend, Joe, and I are going to go to Arizona and get some hiking in and golfing and some warm sunshine just for a nice little break. So that's what we plan on doing.
Wonderful. Allison, what are you doing for the holidays?
So we are actually having family come visit us RV style to be socially distanced safe. So that's a new experience that we had earlier this summer. We went on a road trip, which was a lot of fun, RV, and now we have people coming to visit us. So so we're spending time with family, you know, in a safe way, and people we haven't seen for a while. So it would be nice to catch up in person.
Excellent, excellent. Jeanette, Annette, what are you doing for the holidays?
Well, I'm a vegetarian, so I found out this new vegan recipe for the holidays that I want to put together, and I'm gonna make her eat it, even though she doesn't want to.
I love vegan food. Like, I love it.
Oh, that's
I
new
love it.
because the last one, it wasn't good for her, but whatever.
Hey,
So
breaking news. Hold on a second. Breaking news. Annette is down with the vegan food. You go ahead,
yeah,
girl.
I was scared at a point. I'm not even gonna lie. You know, that's like drinking diet soda or diet something, you know? So I just was kind of frightened, but I ate it, and I just said, okay, it don't even matter to me. Whatever's in there, we eat it. I eat both. So
So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna just do something small at the house. I mean, we don't have many friends. We have a few friends that she had from her coworkers probably come over, and we're just gonna do something small at the house. We already did our vacation. We just came back from Miami, so yeah, we're just gonna keep it small.
Very good. Destiny, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, what are you doing for the holiday? You said you're about to take a trip. Talk to us.
Yeah, and then we kind of celebrated the holidays early, and then Jeanette came down from Texas for my virtual graduation. So we exchanged gifts, we took Christmas photos, we did the Christmas tree thing. We had our holiday celebration early, between my mom and my sisters and I. And since that last week, I've been traveling. I've traveled twice, and now I'm going to see Betty for the holidays, and then I'll be back and spending it with my mother. We're going to be in the house because we got to be safe. It's crazy here in Florida.
Absolutely. Where does Betty live now?
She's in St. Pete Beach.
Okay, not too far away.
Nope.
Gail, I also want to say, I'm going to add Brooke in here too, but just to say how proud we are of Jeanette, Annette, and Destiny. I just want to say just congratulations to them at all their hard work. They see that it has come to fruition to them. They're reaching their goals and their dreams, and I couldn't be prouder.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Well, ladies, it has been an absolute pleasure
Yes.
to have each of you, family, on this Game of Life mentoring podcast and community conversation. Your love for humanity, your love for one another, this is one of the best podcasts I've ever done. I mean that sincerely. I've had athletes on, I've had actors on the show, but the bottom line today, especially during a trying 2020, this is the last podcast of 2020. So you all are closing out a very challenging year with a whole lot of love, a whole lot of family. And I tell you, we need more of that in 2021. So the best, the happiest, safest holidays for each and every one of you. And remember, on the Game of Life, everybody makes the team, but how you play is up to you. If you want to get involved with Big Brothers, Big Sisters here in Miami, 305-644-0066, or just hit us up right on online at bbbsmiami.org, or guess what? Follow us on social at bbbsmiami. Brooke, Allison, Mama Dukes, Jeanette, Annette, and Destiny. Thank you for joining me today. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Have a
Happy
good day.
holidays.
Thank